What ho, gents? Time for another review. So, Guy Ritchie's the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Wow, I blanked on the titles right in front of me. I saw it last night. My theater reaction is up. You can check that out if you'd rather just get a quick, less than a minute reaction. But my more in-depth thoughts. I like the film. The film was a lot of fun to watch. Based off the real events of Operation, I believe it's Postmaster, was it? And allegedly the character that Henry Cavill plays is the one that inspired Ian Fleming, who is in the movie, to create James Bond. Now, how much of, again, historical accuracy, there's always going to be liberties taken with films that are based on historical events. The thing is, though, I don't know what the liberties for this film would be. Obviously, they had this mission, kidnap this cargo ship, destroy this cargo ship, sink it, to prevent any supplies going to the U-boats that were taking out supply chains and for the British and the Allied forces and preventing America from getting into the war. That was the mission. And the catch-22s that happened in the mission, and having to change the mission parameters, all that happened. So how much of this actually happened, I don't know for 100% certain, because there's a side mission going on here that does involve seducing a character, as well as think words here, getting in good favors with someone only to betray them later. And in that sense, this film to me feels, I've heard it kind of feels a little bit like Kingsman mixed with a couple other films. To me, this feels as close to Inglourious Bastards without being Inglourious Bastards. It's not as bloody as, you're almost never getting as gory as a Quentin Tarantino film when doing these types of films. But it does definitely get brutal, and there's definitely gore in it. Like, when the violence happens, it's very good. It is very delicious violence. Blood, people dying in some nasty ways occasionally, particularly about 80% of the brutality. I mean, they're all getting their kills in, but 80% of brutality is coming from Alan Richardson. He's having a blast. Everyone in the film is great. That's a good segue. Everyone in the film is great. Alan Richardson, though, when it comes to the violence, is stealing the show, because he's just going ham on a bunch of Nazis, using whatever he has as his means, from a bow and arrow to a knife to an axe to like anything he gets his hands on. He is just ripping these guys apart, literally. But also, he's a fun character too. Like there's some good little quirky lines of dialogue, because that's one of the things Guy Ritchie does very well, is his dialogue, his back and forth banter. I wouldn't go to compare again to Inglourious Bastards. I wouldn't say he's at Quentin Tarantino level. What would you call it? Dialogist, dialogue writer. I wouldn't say he's that, because Quentin Tarantino's dialogue is like always just like that level. Even in his lesser movies, the dialogue is still up there. I don't think Guy Ritchie's that good, but he's a good dialogue writer, and it's very much how he writes these characters. Henry Cavill's character is very charming, but you can tell he doesn't play by the rules, and he gets results because of it. When we first meet them, they're caught on a boat by Nazis, and they got to play the part, and then they kind of like give it up, and it's just, it's very funny, especially when they're about to be shot on, and as they're being shot at, they're just casually having a conversation. It works very, very well. I didn't know the actual story behind Operation Postmaster. So whatever parts of this are real, which I assume a solid chunk is true, and then the rest is exaggerated for Hollywood to a certain degree. Whatever is real, it's always fun to learn more about history in that sense. As long as you can do it in a creative, entertaining way, it works. Now, that said, like I said, the action when it shows up is really good. The characters, and I just mentioned not Henry Golding. I just mentioned Alan Richardson and Henry Cavill. Everyone, Cary Elwes, who plays the guy who basically hires them, he's great. Oh God, hold on. I got the actors' names right here on the. Let's just look at the poster now, shall we, real quick? Henry Cavill, Ezra Gonzalez. I can't remember. Oh, I think he's the one right below there. Alex Petra. When there was I think that is the woman playing that's the one the woman. I can't remember the character's name or the person's name. So yeah, they're all great, particularly her. She's very good. That like she's got to play the seductress, and damn, do they make her they make her seductive? But it's also her. There's a personal story going on with her and her history dealing with the Nazis. There's a couple character actors. Speaking of Inglourious Bastards, the guy who played Colonel Stiglitz, yeah, I believe it's Stiglitz, the German who hated Nazis and is the one who kind of gave him out away in the bar. He's in the film. I believe that's him anyway. So it's fun to see him. There's other characters as well. Oh god, I believe the contact owns the casino. I believe that's Hero Finis Tiffin. I believe that's his name. I could be wrong on that, and I apologize if I got that wrong. Obviously Henry Golding, if you see right there, he's in the movie. So all the acting's really good. Really good. The action's good. The banter is good. The tone, I like the tone. It's got the espionage, it's got the violence, but it's also got it's almost like a 60s sexy feeling to it. Like it's not, but it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? I think that's just the charisma and the confidence that these characters are carrying on with through the movie. Now that said, I compare this more to Inglourious Basterds for a reason, because where I get into maybe is negatives are is the right thing to say. Now things that I just critiques. I think critiques is the best word to use. If I were to go into some critiques, one, of all the actors, I did hear the person playing Churchill probably either wasn't the best or some people just didn't quite dig on him. And after watching the movie, and especially after seeing and obviously this is just a Churchill, this isn't the darkest hour Gary Oldman Oscar-winning performance Churchill. But I won't lie and say I love this version. I didn't dig on, I don't know, maybe it was the makeup. Honestly, I say that right now. I think the makeup looked like he did not look like a guy he didn't look like Churchill in the sense that he looked natural. He looked unnatural when I looked at that makeup. I don't think was very good. And I think maybe that was it. His voice is also, I haven't heard actual Winston Churchill speak, but his voice was also, where Gary Oldman has that, he has this very Gary Oldman voice. This guy sounds a bit more like this, but a push, we shall never surrender. He literally sounds like that. He sounds like he's putting on a voice. Yeah, he literally does sound like he's putting on a voice. Whereas Gary Oldman, we know Gary Oldman's English, so it's easier for him to do that accent and still use his own voice. Like Gary Oldman doesn't really put on voices, and I'm constantly comparing the two, but I think it's very important because it's the most recent version of Churchill I think we have to compare him to. And whereas that worked, this I don't think worked as well. Wasn't god awful or anything, but I really think it comes down to that makeup, less the performance. But another thing that where I use the Inglourious Compassion, the Inglourious Bastard comparison, and the other thing that comes from that is there's like the main plot of this mission to sink this cargo ship. Okay. But you are going back and forth between two different missions. The more espionage side of it, which is dealing with sorry, just one second here. I'm blanking on the names of the characters and it's bugging me. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Okay. If my computer starts to lag at this point, I do apologize. It always starts to lag right around this point if I'm looking things up. Okay, so all right. So the two people doing the espionage. One guy owns a casino that's Okay, no. So Babs Osunanmuken. I've seen him multiple times before. I do apologize. He was also in Dune. He was also in Dune. He was the guy that Paul killed to be a part of the Fremen. He plays the Heron. Okay, Eliza Gonzalez is Marjorie Stewart. That's who it is. Gus March-Phillips is technically our main guy, played by Henry. Alan Richardson plays Anders Lassen. Alex Pitter plays Appleyard, Jeffrey Appleyard. Then you get these other side characters, and yeah, I'm pretty certain Till Schweiger is Heinrich Luhr, who was also Stiglitz in Glorious Bastards. Roy Kinner. Wait a minute, isn't Roy Kinner from the Bond movie? He was from the Bond movies. He played Tanner. He played Tanner in like the Daniel Craig Bond movies. Okay, awesome. Still don't think it worked, but awesome. I liked him in those movies. But point being, the side story with Heron and Marjorie Stewart, or at least the other half of the story, I think that's a better way to put it. The other half of the story. Both sides are interesting, but the fact is we are cutting back and forth to both sides of the story. So there really isn't a main character is the thing. There are main players within each story, but arguably I'd say that Heron and Marjorie are almost equal. She's got a little bit more motivation on her part of her story. And I can see a little bit of lag there now, so I'm going to get off here. Whereas I would. Oh crap! Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Either way, we're going to continue. So she's got more going on in her story than say Heron does. Like I'd still say it's almost 50-50. I'd say it's like 60-40 in her favor. But they're still like playing equal parts a lot in that side of the story. Whereas with the rest of them, they're all pretty equal. It's just that the leader is Gus, played by Henry Cavill. So there is no like in Inglourious Bastards. We also had. Did we have 2 or 3? I can't remember. Was there 2 or 3 main characters going on, or like main stories going on? There was. I mean, technically, Christoph Waltz is his own story too. But we've got Shoshana, and then you got the Bastards, and them kind of going back and forth. The difference, I think, here, and honestly, I love Inglourious Bastards. Inglourious Bastards was really well balanced, I think, in that. But the difference is twofold. One, you have a clear lead in Shoshana's story. It is Shoshana. And then be on the Bastard side, it's not Brad Pitt's story, but he's still the focal point of that story, I think. He's the one in charge, he's the one leading, he's one of the ones who make it out. Here you don't have that, and I think the other thing, because we're doing an Inglourious Bastards comparison, because I think it's actually a very good comparison here, is the fact that you had narration in Inglourious Bastards. Samuel L. Jackson was narrating that movie. So because of that, you're able to kind of identify a little quicker in some regards with these characters than you are here. But now, I say all that as a critique, not necessarily a criticism, because I still think it works in the movie so long as you go in understanding that there technically isn't a main character you're following. At least not unless you're trying to look for a main character to follow. In which case, then I'd say it's probably Eliza, Marjorie, and then I'd say it's probably Henry Cavill on their side. Probably. Although Alan Richardson honestly gets a lot of screen time too, so I don't know. That's the thing. This cast is so balanced in screen time and what they get to do and be kind of like badass in some way that it's really hard to pick if I had to a lead. I would go probably with Cavill or Eliza's character. But I think they all get their time to shine. It's definitely a film that's got some humor in it. There's a decent amount of humor, so you're getting laughs. Some of the kills are ridiculous, so it is very funny. Kind of how nuts some of these characters are playing it really ups up the absurdity. And then I think that's kind of where we go to the Hollywood side of things. From what I understand, as I was hearing some people outside here talking about it, Alan Richardson character actually doesn't exist within within the real world. Like he's made up for Hollywood. He didn't exist in the actual real world events. Which, you know what? I think that's fine once in a while because it's clear that his story wasn't as important. This is where I think not having a main lead helps because you're not pissing on anyone's corpse by doing that. Now, if you suddenly made up a character who was the lead guy leading these guys in charge, doing all these badass things, getting all the credit, that's pissing on the memory of these individuals who risked their lives, did basically a suicide mission for king and country and pretty much the free world in many ways. So I think adding in a character and then just making him an equal part of the story makes no difference even in a historical retelling. That's where liberties can be taken for the entertainment factor of the story, I think. So overall, I do think this is a good movie. I think it's one of Guy Ritchie's better movies in recent years, better than King Arthur at any rate. King Arthur was bad, man. It was bad. Man, don't get me wrong. It's entertaining, but it's not good. This, I think, is legitimately good. Would I say it's the best film I've seen this year? No, it's not the best film I've seen this year. That honor still goes to Dune. But I digress. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I just realized I was told, at least for the animated films, looking up, rehashing the trailers, and I haven't been doing that. Can I remember any trailers? Let's find out if I can remember any trailers real quick. I had Deadpool 3, and the Red Band one. We should be getting a new trailer for that actually pretty soon. Not say like April. Like we still got a week and a half of April left. I don't think we'll get it in April. It comes out in July, so we're still going to be a ways off from the next trailer. But May, I think, is probably where we're going to see the next trailer. Because when you drop a trailer, you want it to be able to play in theaters for at least a month and a half to 2 months. Deadpool 3's first trailer dropped in mid-February for Super Bowl. We're now going into its second month. So, yeah, May, I think, is when we're going to get our next trailer. I think that's when we're going to see it. Trying to think real quick. Bad Boys for Life. Or, sorry, not a Bad Boys for Life. That was the third one. Bad Boys Ride or Die. That's it. We got that one. And, hey, look, full disclosure, I've actually never watched any of the Bad Boys movies. But I'm told they're pretty fun. Even like all three of them are pretty fun, I understand. And this looks fun. And look, the Will Smith thing is now, 2-3 years behind us now? I'm honestly blanking on how many years it's been now. I know it's been a little bit now. This will be the test to see if people are ready to forgive Will Smith. Because Will Smith, I mean, he's done a public apology, but whether or not he's apologized in person to Chris is really what matters. In person, personally to Chris. That's what matters. So we'll see. That will be the test. But I'll be there to see it. I will. Strangers. I can't remember what the name for that prequel is. I don't care about the Strangers at all. If there's nothing else out, I guess I'll see it. But like I said in my box office report earlier, I think last week, I only dig on certain types, or I'll go see horror movies when I can, but I don't, like, I actually wanted to go see Abigail this week, but wasn't feeling great this morning. I feel better now. I think I just need to eat, but at this point, I still need to record my what if I didn't do yesterday and pre-record tomorrow, so I'm all cut up. So I'm not going to be going out to see Abigail, unfortunately. Maybe if I can get like a matinee showing or something like next week or something, maybe I'll do it, but no. There was plenty of movies that I saw. Did we get Planet of the Apes? No, I don't think we got Planet of the Apes. I'm actually surprised we didn't get Planet of the Apes, and I think about it. Was there anything else that there's another horror movie, or I'm blanking. I know we had others. Normally I would write this stuff down, but I lost my notebook, I think, here. It's probably floating around here somewhere. I would just have to find it. But yeah, those are some of the trailers. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you folks for the next one. Have a good one, folks, and later.